Okay, everyone, hello. I am in a hotel room right now, as you can see. I am currently traveling for work, but I did start this book, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I have just heard such hype for this trilogy, and I asked a lot of people, like, should I read the Caraval trilogy first? I know that's like the classic question, and I ultimately decided that I wasn't going to. If I really like this trilogy, I might go back and read Caraval. But I did hear that it's like very whimsical, which this one is too. Like, it's very fairy tale-esque, which isn't my favorite thing, but I figured like this is the strongest chance for me to like a book by this author, so I went for it. I am 72 pages in, and the first little bit definitely hooked me, but now I'm kind of like, I need something else to like happen because I started losing interest as well. No idea where it's set. It's kind of this like fantastical world where there's kind of these like godlike creatures, you could call them, called fates, and they're all like card inspired. So there's like a Prince of Hearts, something. Prince of Hearts, yeah. And so there's a bunch of like princes and maybe even kings and queens of certain things, and they all like to mess with humans. So it's kind of confusing, I will say, but you're following this girl named Evangeline, and she, at the very beginning, the love of her life is marrying her stepsister, and she's really upset about it, and she thinks that he's being forced to do it. So she goes to one of the fates, the Prince of Hearts, and asks him to stop the wedding so that she can try to marry him instead. And things go awry, as they do. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with this book. I think we're just gonna like see the consequences of her making this deal with the Prince of Hearts. I've heard the name Jax, and that is the Prince of Hearts' name, is Jax. So I've heard great things. I'm curious if it is gonna be a romance between Evangeline and Jax. I don't know. But he's not in it. He was like in it at the beginning, and now he's not. So I'm very curious like where he's gonna come in. So for now, I'm gonna keep reading. I'm interested enough. We'll see how it goes. But I'm just fascinated by this. So yeah, this is the book that I brought on my trip. I actually brought a lot of books on my trip because I just wasn't sure what I would want to be in the mood for. And this is due the soonest out of all of the library books. So I'm like, okay, I probably should read this one first, which works out because I wanted to read it for a video anyways. So. Okay, I will say Apollo is pretty sweet, but like my first I feel kind of bad for him, but like imagine if you could do this in real life. Like, yeah. So initial thoughts, well, not really initial, I'm like this far into it. So the setting is weird. I'm not really vibing with it. Like, it is very fairy tale-esque, I guess. It feels similar to like an Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. And I don't hate it, but I don't love it for that. And Evangeline, she has a good heart, but she also is a bad judge of character. That's for sure. Jax is interesting. I can't really pinpoint what's up with him. Like, I think as much as Evangeline is curious about Jax, I'm also curious about him. Like, and then Apollo, like, what a guy. I understand that like a lot of stuff is out of his control, but he's pretty cute right now, I will say. And like, okay, no spoilers, okay, but just like the bedroom scene, there's nothing funky about that, but like I will say they do joke and mention very tame jokes about intimacy in a way, not in like a bad way, but just so you know, like they do mention that that is a thing that exists in this world, so like I'm fine with it. And then even like this scene that I'm just reading, it's like it's kind of a sweet way of writing about it. I just wish, like, I guess real talk right now, like romance is such an interesting genre for me to like because I have such low tolerance with stuff. That's why I like YA, because it usually stays in the realm of what I'm comfortable reading in romance. Adult romance just takes it that step farther, which I understand is normal. Like, and that's what's sad about it, and that's what's so hard with these books is like, I know that intimacy is normal, and in a way it's good. It's good. It's good in the right context, right? So I understand why it's in all of these romance books. I don't know why I'm on this tangent, but I'm just saying, like, I wish that there was more sweet depictions of it like this, because nothing's happened, okay? That's not what's going on here, but it reminds me of it, and so that's what triggered me to talk about this. So I'm curious about your guys' thoughts. I know it's such a spectrum of like comfort level of what you feel comfortable reading in a romantic scene, and I've been on a journey with it. Like I don't know. I definitely want to keep talking about this topic though, because it really does influence and impact so many areas of our lives, not just what we like to read or whatever, you know, like, of course, like our sexual health is so important, and I want to be able to talk about it here within the realm of like what's appropriate, you know, on this YouTube channel. So anyways, so all that to say, Apollo is a sweet guy, and let's keep reading. Once again, I feel bad for Apollo. What a guy. I feel like no one ever mentions his character when I hear about this series. So interesting, right? I feel like I always latch on to characters that like don't matter and like have nothing to do with the main character. Oh dear. Oh dear. Evangeline gets into the worst situations, like always. Seriously, poor Evangeline as well. I do feel like this series is like, not even this series, what am I saying? This book, this is the first book. I feel like it's all over the place. It kind of represents Evangeline's character though, because she is quite like, she's quite impulsive in usually not a good way that turns out for her. Okay, just let me read this line. Page 253, okay? Yet his arms were tight around her waist as though he had no intention of ever letting go. I just, like, yes, okay? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh! Okay. I don't really get what these parts are about. I guess they, like, are named stuff for what's coming, but I feel like it's unnecessary, but maybe this is, like, a fairy tale thing to do, which I don't really know about that, but... I will say it's going much quicker now. The first like long bit of this book, I was like, it's kind of boring. Like it started out good, but like it just feels slow. But now I feel like it's picking up. Okay. Didn't see that one coming. Nice. There's also like some blood magic, which I don't really like, you know? Like it doesn't feel evil or anything, but I also don't like it. Is that like fully crooked? Oh snap! I'm just gonna say, it's always the sweet ones, you know? Okay. Okay, acknowledgements. Fascinating. Okay, I always check the acknowledgements to see if an author will like acknowledge God, because if they're Christians, then usually they do mention God. And she does say, and finally I thank God always that I get to do the thing that I feel I was made to do. Interesting. So do you guys know? Like, I mean, how would we know? Unless she's said this just now. So it doesn't have to mean anything, but anyways. So, okay. This feels 3-star level for me. I definitely found myself skimming any kind of descriptions of the setting because like it just was all so like kind of out of this world for me, like I guess fantastical, that I didn't like really feel a connection to it. I was interested basically in Evangeline's relationship with Jax and like seeing what's gonna happen there, because like there's not really any romance, and I mean there's also another character that I've mentioned that I'm like, what's gonna happen there? You know? So I'm very curious. I do think I'll read the next book, and I thought this video was gonna be me reading 3 different fantasy books, but I might just read this whole trilogy in this video. Why not? Because I have requested the other 2 books from the library and they're in transit, so they should be here fairly soon, I hope, and then maybe I'll just read the whole trilogy this month. I did not expect that. There are other fantasy books that I want to read, and actually, I did get this book from the library finally. Ugh. So this is the conclusion to the Defy the Night trilogy, Destroy the Day, and I have already started it because I couldn't resist. Like, wow. And it really gets into it right away. Like it basically picks up exactly where Defend the Dawn left off. So I'm very happy about that. I was going to read this book in this video as well. And I mean, I could still give updates for it because like, why not? But I do think that I want to just continue with this trilogy because I was going to try to find 3 different fantasy books, but it's kind of tough. Like most fantasy books start series, and then the standalone ones that I know about, I'm not interested in right now. I'd rather like try to get immersed in one world. And I feel like, I mean, I've already read this first book, so let's just go with the next 2. I've heard really good things about the second book, whatever it's called. The Ballad of Never After, I think. So I hope that I like that one better. We'll see. It's kind of the setting that isn't really hitting with me, and a little bit the plot as well, like the whole storyline. That's the thing. Like I'm just like not on board with this plot, the way that it's been unfolding. But we'll see the second one, because pretty much like I want to see how, because like I'm assuming there's romance between her and Jax, but there has been nothing yet. Like maybe little crumbs, but like not much. But I feel like everyone likes the second book because there's more romance in it. So we'll see, okay? But I'm going to be reading this book until the next 2 books of this series come in. So I can give updates. For now, I'm really into it, and it's nice and thick, so lots is going to happen. And, okay, so I'm on page 64. I already looked at the end. I couldn't help it, okay? I already looked at the end. Only the very last page, okay? Only the very last page. To just see what names I could see, because I need to know who survives. I can't handle random deaths in books, okay? That's why fantasy is, like, very risky. And that's why I like, you know, romance like this. They always end up together. That's what I need, okay? Because, like, I assume that they won't do it, but you know, after a certain trilogy that will not be named, sometimes the characters don't end up together because maybe one of them dies. I can't handle that. And I mean, whatever. So I do know who survives, and I am comfortable with it. So I'm looking forward to reading this to see how they get out of this situation, because like, all 3 of the people we're following from Defend the Dawn are now in this book. We're following them separately, and they all have to get out of a very sticky situation. And I'm very excited to see how that goes down. And I just really love the writing. Like, she writes in funny little quips and little like bantery lines that are so good. And I really have come to like these characters. I was not a fan of the first book, but I love Defend the Dawn, and I feel like I'm gonna like this book too. I will check in when I have an update, but there we go. 3 stars. I would recommend it. There was no language, and like I mentioned, the little romancy parts. There are like gods talked about. There's not spells, but like there's like potions and like blood stuff. And then if you like fairy tales, you probably will like this book because it has a lot of those vibes. I don't think I have a connection there, which is weird because I thought I used to, but I guess not. Finally, I got this from the library. So, The Ballad of Never After. I am ready to start this as soon as possible, but it's gonna be a little bit because I'm working a lot in the next couple days. So I'm gonna try, but yeah, this is shorter, I think, than book one, or it's like not that big, so good. And I am curious because I've heard really good things about this book in the trilogy, so I hope that I like it too. So I'll try to give updates like I did with the first book, but keep it spoiler free. So I will just be as vague as possible. And of course, I'll let you know about content and things like that. So let's go. Hi everyone, so I did finish The Ballad of Never After, and I struggled with this one at the beginning. It was definitely slow, and okay, I find her writing just very surface level. There's not like depth to the character's thoughts or even character analysis. Like she's not doing any kind of like deep dives into these characters' like hearts. It feels like it's just about Evangeline making bad decisions, but all kind of in the name of love. And okay, and so I posted on Goodreads like that I wasn't enjoying this and I wasn't even sure if I wanted to finish the trilogy, but a lot of people said, please read to the end. And so I did read to the end, and I will say the ending was good. Like it was shocking to me, and there were a couple like twists, I guess, in this book, and I was fairly impressed. So I will read the third book, but I mean, this is still 3 stars. Like it's okay, but it's the writing and the setting and even the plot too. Like I'm invested in Evangeline and Jax, but I'm also not the biggest fan of them together. It just feels a little bit like Stockholm Syndrome and kind of like glorifying this like really morally gray guy. And oh, because he secretly loves her, all of his actions are justified. Like, I'm just not okay with that too. So, like, I find Jack so interesting, and I wish that we got to see more of his character and like the depths of his character. I don't feel like we got much from him. He kind of was like in and out a lot. They were together more in this book, but when they were together, it was kind of just all like, I don't know, fighting, kind of like mild fighting that didn't feel like banter or like funny tension, like romantic tension. It just like didn't hit for me. So I think I'm just not the target audience. I don't like this kind of story, this kind of writing, or this book really. Objectively, like I could see why people like it. So you guys might like it. And I know like some of my followers did say on Goodreads like that it gets so good. So okay, here's the third book, A Curse for True Love. And the way this one ends, like it's a major cliffhanger, so I'm glad that I can like go right into this book. And I kind of wish that the covers weren't black. Like the spines are so cute and the covers are just like black, but then the like library binding is just like super reflective and whatever. Let's get into this book. I am curious how she's gonna wrap it up, and we'll go from there. I'll let you guys know. everyone. So as you saw, I finished A Curse for True Love. And you can probably tell, like, this trilogy isn't for me. I wasn't a fan of the writing. I just, still with this one, I felt like it was so surface level. And then there were, like, the romance that was in this felt really awkward, and there were some descriptions of, like, them touching chests that I was like, okay, like, normally not what I want to read. And then they use the B word a couple times. Overall, I don't think it's a bad trilogy, and I totally respect everyone who likes these books, but it's just the writing style wasn't for me. And of course, like, the character that I thought was, like, sweet, you just can't trust anyone. That's all I'm gonna say. And I have, like, not a good radar when it comes to, like, who's good and who's not. So yeah. And to be honest, like, I didn't really sense a connection between Evangeline and Jax in this book. Like, really, like, the way that the plot was, it was difficult for them to have a connection. But when they did, it just felt very fast. And I don't see how, like, love happened there, you know? I don't get it. So I see how everyone would like Jax's character, but them together, like Evangeline and Jax. I knew I would read this trilogy eventually, though. Like, I'm glad that I gave it a try, and I don't regret reading it, but I just have to be so sure, like, of what the fantasy is, because fantasy is, like, really hit and miss with me, and in general, I'm not into it. So this was kind of my test of, like, can I like more, like, whimsical fairy tale type fantasies? And I don't think so, although I haven't tried many, so there could be more that I like. But, like, I liked Destroy the Day better than this whole trilogy, and it had, like, a very major, like, character in it that I would never, like, feel comfortable reading about. But the writing and the plot and just, like, everything about that book, I really enjoyed reading, other than the, like, romance part that was in it. So pairing them also is kind of like, I liked the Defy the Night trilogy way better, even though there was lots of things in it that I didn't like. But compared to this trilogy. So anyways, everyone has their own taste. I'm glad I know now, and hopefully this was semi-enjoyable to watch. I always find that, like, when I don't like the book that I'm reading in a reading vlog, it makes the vlog not as fun to watch. So I totally get it, but if you watched this far, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts if you've read this trilogy. How do you feel about it? Am I the minority here? Probably, but I've also seen a lot of mixed reviews for this third book from fans of the trilogy, so I know I'm not, like, the odd one out for this book, but for the trilogy in general, like, even book 2, I actually think book 1 is my favorite, Once Upon a Broken Heart. Of the whole trilogy, that's my favorite. I thought it was a strong start, but then it did get really slow, and I just found in general the whole series to kind of be slow, and then when there was action, it just felt surface, and that's the best way I can say it. So yeah, but thank you for watching this video. That's my little fantasy video, and I definitely want to try this again. Like, I am not giving up on fantasy, and I look forward to the next themed reading vlog that there will be. I actually feel like I need to take a break. I think I mentioned this already, but I really want to go back to my tried and true Christian fiction. So that's kind of my plan for the next little while. So again, thank you for watching, you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.